Has there ever been a time in your life where you were feeling down or you just didn't know how to move forward? And then there was one person who came along and believed in you or gave you acknowledgement or a positive praise, and this really moved things forward. And I want to think about how that made you feel and what type of motivation you had after that. I know for me, there was a time when I was in college and I had started my bachelor's degree. And I knew I wanted to eventually be either a school counselor or a counselor in general, but I didn't have the confidence in myself. And I remember there was a professor who specifically told me after class, I really hope you get your graduate degree. I think you would be amazing, and I'd be happy to write a recommendation letter for you. And that really just stuck out to me, that one thing that professor said to me. Other than my student teaching, I actually had a really positive experience going to college when I did. Most of my professors were extremely positive and encouraging, and I had a feeling that they believed in me. They had that positive praise, they were always encouraging, and this really changed my behavior, my motivation, and how I showed up to class every day. So taking that perspective, how can we connect that idea with children and adolescents in our classroom and promoting that positive behavior we want to see? There is a way to take these two and connect them. And today I'm going to share my 3 tips on how to promote positive behavior in your classroom that you can implement as soon as tomorrow. So before we get started, I know as a teacher that we get a lot of negative feedback from other teachers. I have heard teachers say,
they should just know how to act. I shouldn't have to do all these things. They should just act this way I want them to.
Okay, then I reply with, well, do you not like positive acknowledgement? Do you not like to be praised? Nobody in your life that said something or did something and it really pushed your motivation and your passion forward? Never. If you think about it, we expect a lot out of our students every day. We want our students to come in, to put their backpacks away, to get started on their work, to automatically shift to let's learn today. And we also want them to be excited about learning because realistically as a teacher, we're excited to teach. So there's a lot that we are expecting of our students. And I know that all of them have the capability to show you they are excited about learning, but really it starts with us. When I started my graduate degree and I was taking child development classes, adolescent development classes, and then I also went into couples counseling classes, there was this common theme that I saw. If we ask somebody to do one thing, we need to have 5 positive acknowledgments or praises to counteract that one thing. With children, they say it's 10 positive things to counteract that one thing. Now, is it realistic for me to give 10 positive acknowledgments to every single student a day? No. But if we do whole group acknowledgement, then that's giving at least 1. But today, I really want to focus on how we can encourage individual praises, but also have students be accountable to themselves and their classroom and want a positive environment for learning. So let's jump into my first tip, sticky notes. When I had time, I would come to school 10 to 15 minutes early, and in that morning, I would focus on writing out sticky notes. Really simple phrases. You rock. Thank you for doing your work. Awesome job listening. Great partner work. These are very general. They don't have to be specific for one specific student, but it's just for them to get an idea that you are praising their behavior. So I would have a clipboard and I would put my sticky notes on my clipboard and I would walk around the classroom and say, I'm giving out positive praises today. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you as a new teacher, as a veteran teacher, is to be very specific about what behaviors you want to see in your classroom. So if I want my students to be listening, I'm going to say, you will be listening today while I read out loud. And I'm very picky about this. Not every student is going to get a sticky note. I say, I only have 5 positive praises here, so I'm looking for the best leadership behavior I see. I had students who would keep these sticky notes in their desk all year. They used them as a bookmark all year, or they kept them in their binder. This really promotes positive behavior. So I don't do this all day, every day. I do this maybe one lesson once every 2 or 3 days. This encourages that positive behavior. So some days I don't have to specifically set expectations and have sticky notes because I did it the day before. So my students know this is what Teacher Jessica is looking for as far as my behavior for lessons today. The second way to promote positive behavior in your classroom is to have a student of the month. So when you are ready to implement this into your classroom, you are going to explain what student of the month is. It's a student that you have picked within your classroom that gets to be student of the month for the entire month. So a lot of times when there was choices in the classroom or if there was different jobs, the student of the month got to control a lot of that. So if they wanted to be line leader, they got to be line leader for the month. If we had daily morning talks, they got to start the morning talk because they were student of the month. I then filmed a small video on my computer and I would put it on the smartboard and students would watch that video for student of the month. So I'm going to insert a small clip of student of the month video that I made. Now, I will be honest, the video and the volume are not the best quality because this was before I did YouTube, but I just wanted you to see how you can keep students engaged. Hi guys, welcome back to another student of the month. I was very impressed with everyone during testing week. I know it's tiring and I also was tired even though I wasn't testing, but I appreciate everyone's hard work and respect towards other students. I just was so impressed with all of you. So I do want to thank you all for your hard work. So when I was picking student of the month, oh my gosh, this was a hard decision. Oh, you guys, all of you guys are just amazing. So it was really tough. So I decided to think about somebody that I have seen a lot of growth in and somebody that I've really just seen a spark ignite. And so when I think of this student, I think of how much growth they have shown, how they come to school excited to learn, how they share their learning. When they're working in groups or with a partner, I can trust that they're going to stay on task. Also call their parents at the end of the day and say, hey, I'm calling to let you know that Tom got student of the month because he shows this and this and this within my classroom. And that also encourages positive relationships with parents as well. And students know that you're going to call home to give a positive praise about them. I would say if you choose anything out of this, student of the month is a great way to encourage that behavior because students really strive to get student of the month every month. And it also encourages positive praise towards the student who won student of the month. And again, I'm setting my expectation specifically on what makes a student of the month. Great, so let's move on to my last tip. We are going to call this tip positive praises. Now, I tried to do this when we did partner work or group work or any type of activity to keep students on task because if you're a teacher, you know that when students are working with partners or groups, their excitement is really up. And so sometimes it can be hard to hone in that energy and encourage that positive behavior. Before I taught a lesson, I would say, I want us working with our partner. I want us specifically talking about science today. These are the words I am looking for in our vocabulary. I want us to be on task. I want us to be kind to our partners. So these, again, are specific things that I am looking for. So then, during partner work or group work, I have my clipboard. When partner or group work starts, I tell my students, I'm giving out positive praises at the end. So I am walking around that whole time writing out the behaviors and I'm very specific on what I'm writing and what I'm looking for. Then I would specifically say, I saw Tom and Susie working in group today. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Awesome job today. So it is the end of our lesson and that means I'm giving out positive praises. So let's go ahead and go through some of the positive praises that I wrote down. The first positive praise I have is Rebecca and Sean did really great listening to one another. I heard Rebecca specifically say, what did you mean by that statement? So great job, Rebecca, and great job, Sean. Let's go ahead and give them a quick clap. Awesome. So you always want to point out positive behaviors in your class. One last note, if you continually push positive behaviors and you find ways to promote it, when students act up in my classroom, or sometimes we do reading groups and we'd have other students come in and they were being rude or interrupting, my students would say, We want to learn. We're here to be active participants in our learning. So when you do this, it sets an environment to where you don't always have to be the one holding everyone accountable. You really want to set a community of learners who are excited about learning together. So in the comments below, which one of these do you find helpful? Which one of these are you going to implement tomorrow? And remember, you don't have to implement all of them tomorrow. I'd pick one thing and slowly work on that one thing. Then I would add a second thing and slowly add on to that second thing. When we continually add positive reinforcement in our classroom, we will see that positive behavior. You can always be that one person in a student's life who really needs it. You're not going to reach every student, but find one student who you really want to reach and move forward with that. Believe it or not, teachers make a huge difference in students' lives. I had a couple teachers in my life who made a huge difference, and that's what promoted me to want to be a teacher. And it's okay if you don't see it right now, but I promise you in the future there will come a time when somebody says something. I got letters years later from students. Oh man, did that just touch my heart to get letters years later from students, even if it was a student that I was like, man, I could have handled that differently. I've had that student write me a letter being like, you were the best teacher I ever had, even though I felt like I didn't do everything I could. So keep in mind, you're doing the best you can every day, and even though you don't see it, you are making a difference in someone's life. With that, I hope you have a beautiful day, and make sure to check out my other video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.